We're live. Are we live? We're live. All right. What's up, guys? We're back after a very brief but meaningful hiatus in St. Eustatius. I will be fix myself. I'll be giving a further update on that and how that went later on. 1 second. Just gotta make sure that we're good in the sound because technology does bamboozle me most days of the week, but hopefully not today. Ba-bum. All right, so let's get into it. We've got coffee on deck. It's not fancy coffee. I know I've been lapsing. I've been saying that we have to order new stuff, but I haven't because life has been life and the ministry been ministering. Yeah. Today's hot take. I was thinking about agitators. Agitators are persons that uh, tend to they're trying to kind of push an agenda. In the past, what you used to have, they used to call unions agitators. Advocating for workers' rights. Joan of Arc was an agitator. Toussaint Louverture was an agitator. That's what they branded people, who were trying to bring about change, usually positive change. But I think what we see a lot these days, in particular with like the advent of social media, is that most agitators have very often malicious intentions when they agitate, whether it's in a business, an organization, a club, whatever. I think it's either these days more meant to distract, to disrupt, um, in one perceived power in favor of another, more malevolent power. And I think that is a danger that faces us a lot when I look at certain uh, commentary on different societal issues, on what is a societal issue. It's just a little strange to kind of see that what was once thought as a driver of positive change, has kind of been corrupted into what it is now. So that's a little bit of what was on my mind, watching and reading everything that's been going on lately. Even if you look at last night, the Knicks game, there was a agitator in Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks lost. So do with that information what you will. Hopefully, he's not in the arena next time they play. The word of the day today, brought to you by Merriam-Webster Dictionary, of course. So let's get into it. Deleterious. Deleterious. Deleterious is a word used in formal speech and writing to describe something that is damaging or harmful, but usually in a subtle or unexpected way. Um, so it's, you know, another word I think would be it's a little insidious because it's that creeping kind of, you know, impact. Deleterious effects are often not so obvious. It's usually used to describe things that are harmful in ways that are unexpected, slow acting, or not really apparent. Although it's most often used in formal speech and writing, deleterious is far from rare. It even pops up sometimes from time to time in film and television, from the mouths of certain characters, mostly in the nerd shows, guys. So like Star Trek or Stargate. So in Star Trek Voyager, Seven of Nine warns the Doctor the nebula is having a deleterious effect on all the ship's technology. It means that over time, as we are exposed to this nebula, the ship's going to die. It's not going to happen instantaneously. It's not going to be a shocking, destructive effect, so to speak. It actually comes from the Greek word deleterios, which comes from delestai, which means to hurt. So that's the etymology of the word of the day. And I think if I were to use it in St. Martin's context, many of the decisions that were taken 40, 50 years ago in terms of how we established this beautiful, the governance of this beautiful island of ours, have had a deleterious effect that we are now beginning to feel and see. So that's a good example of how it basically talks about things that happen down the line. It's not going to be an instantaneous combustion, so to speak. All right. Game of the month. A lot has been happening in gaming, guys. I've been catching up as best I can, just kind of putting it on podcast style and doing things around the house for in games. So you've had State of Play, which is Sony PlayStation's game conference where they announce new titles that are coming in. We've had Xbox Game Showcase. We've had on Steam Indian Game Showcase, which really blew me away. I watched it last night, highlighted indie developers in India, but also a really amazing game, Raji Kalyaga, I think it was. I forgot to note it down, but essentially you can wishlist these games on Steam. But what really caught my eye and what I'm adding to Game of the Month, so I'll probably play it tonight if I get some time, was Duppy Detective. Now, Duppy Detective is a latest offering from a Jamaican game developer, Sprite Wrench, which is run by a one-man show, Glenn Henry. And in Duppy Detective Tasha, you help the central character named Tasha unravel the case of a heinous murder and find, her cell phone. And it's a point-and-click adventure based on Caribbean folklore. So you're going to be running into folkloric characters throughout the game. I'm very excited to play this title, as well as Our Lands, which is also from a Jamaican game developer who's actually based in Brooklyn, named Graham Reed, whose company, Graham of Legend, also produces indie titles predominantly for PC. You can buy both these games as a bundle on Steam for $10.51. So you get the two games for that particular price. I do get a lot of questions about Steam sometimes from parents who watch the live stream. So I think I'm going to dive a bit more into it next time on how you can set your kid up on Steam, set yourself up on Steam. There's a lot of nice, cozy games for adults on Steam. Tiny Bookshop. Have you ever dreamed of running a bookshop? Have you ever dreamed of running a cafe, and making, matcha lattes for digital characters? You have the opportunity to do so on Steam. So I'll talk a bit more about that. And I know last time I also mentioned 007 First Light. Um, Last time on the live stream, I mentioned that it was the day before the release for that particular title. It tells the story of how James Bond became Agent 007, the super spy that many of us grew up reading about and watching. But then I had to go to Stacia for work, so I wasn't able to play it. Finally, spent some time with it last night, and it is such a beautiful game. If you are a big fan of Bond and just that general spycraft type of genre, I definitely recommend it for you. Just stunning. The gameplay is also very smooth. It's a little like Hitman, but for some reason I still find the gameplay smoother, because in Hitman, just a simple twitch of the joystick and you're falling off a cliff. Yes, I have a love-hate relationship with the Hitman games. But yeah, so 007 First Light and Duppy Detective are probably going to feature in my game rotation this month, and then I'll get into Steam next time for those who've been asking. Also, last time we spoke, I mentioned that I was gonna start streaming some of the games in the month via my Twitch channel, and that I was thinking of doing a contest for the channel graphics. I have decided I'm this close to announcing that, but there will probably be after the summer, since I don't want to distract from the National Short Story Contest. So stay tuned to those, in particular in the high schools, that want to try their hand at some content channel art for the minister. And that takes us on to our main updates. As you know, the short story contest has been announced. The second annual Dame Ruby Butte National Short Story Contest, of course, focusing on literacy, creative expression, and cultural appreciation among our young people, open to students age 12 to 14, and you're invited to submit your original story between 750 and 3,000 words. We're accepting submissions from August 1st to August 21st, so you have the summer to write your story, and then submit between that timeline. And then winners are going to be announced in recognition of International Literacy Day on September 8th, of course. This year's theme is Beats, Bites, and Bacchanal. Imagining Carnival in the year 2050. How does AI and emerging technology shape the future of our most celebrated cultural tradition, which is, of course, Carnival? So very much looking forward to receiving those submissions. And our judges are also looking forward to it. And then seeing who the winners are this year. Moving on to some updates on the trust fund. So on FRLP, progress continues on Sister Marie Lawrence. I'm so happy every day that I drive through Mid-Region and I see there's more concrete blocks, there's more this, there's more rebar. You're just seeing the progress and the build up now. So very, very happy to see that still moving on. While in Stacia, I signed off on the school gyms and sports facilities repair projects. So you're going to see some mobilization happening there soon. And I'll talk a bit more about that in our sports update. No parliament meetings for me scheduled as yet, but we do have the supervision of education law, which is going through its final legal reviews. And then the goal is, of course, to have it in front of Parliament in late Q3, start of Q4 this year. And of course, that contains the hair discrimination legislation. And that takes us into the education updates. I just want to say I took note of what was circulating regarding the public appeal for accountability and educational fairness at the MAC schools. While I have not received any official communication from parents or parent groups, I do take note of the concerns expressed. It's my hope that the MAC board, as the competent authority, takes these concerns seriously and into consideration and works with parents and teachers to address them. And should any formal communication be received by the ministry or myself, we are prepared to address them and respond to them in so far as the authority of the ministry permits. And of course, engaging with the MAC school board throughout that entire process. So until such time, we're just going to monitor, but until we receive formal communication, that's what our approach is going to be moving forward. Then moving on to sports. So I already mentioned the sports facility repair project is kicking off via the trust fund. So you're going to be seeing some works at our community courts and elsewhere public sports spaces. I do ask the community is allowed to do their work and not interfere or harass work sites so we can all have properly repaired facilities once the projects are completed. Again, I'm very happy to see these works kick off after the delays of the last 8 years. And I will continue to monitor and provide updates as I get them. And NSI also posted an update on the playground at Rao Illit Sports Complex. Last time, they had announced that they were going to start works there, restoring and revamping the equipment in collaboration with their private partner, WIB, MCB WIB Bank. So it's looking pretty cool. So I'm excited to pass by and see it in person. Obviously, we cannot go on the things. So whoever was asking me about going on the rides and the seesaw, you can't. Don't do it. And then the multi-purpose court is almost ready for unveiling. So I'm super excited about that particular project. That, of course, is what was able to be salvaged from an MOU that lapsed and expired between the government and SZV and SMMC. So haven't seen the final images of it, but I know that it's ready. So we have a meeting today, sometime this week, I think, or next week, to actually discuss how we're going to unveil it and then introduce that new multipurpose court to the community. So stay tuned for updates on that. And when it comes to youth, right. So I traveled to St. Eustatius on May 31st for the Kingdom Task Force on Child Rights discussion. So it was mostly just to kind of collaborate with our Kingdom partners and to see what they're doing in terms of building meaningful youth participation in their respective islands. So Aruba was present. Curacao, I believe, had one person present. And Saba Station, Bonaire, of course, were represented, as well as the Ministry of Education, Culture and Science from the Netherlands and UNICEF, who are some of one of the main driving partners behind these initiatives. And I have to say, I was very proud of the Department of Youth and what they have accomplished so far. We actually won an award. I thought I had it with me, but I don't. So to show you guys our presentation of what has been being worked on in St. Martin involved young people. So you had a nice little voiceover for the video that was presented to our colleagues. I want to touch a bit on the fact of the focus was on building meaningful youth participation. And I think that, remains the key word, meaningful. This moves the action of engaging young people beyond just collecting data via surveys or interviews into actually incorporating youth voices in decision-making. So I have I just got a reminder that they kept the award to engrave it. So we'll have it next time. So I just want to say that was the concept behind the youth cabinet. And I said even at during the discussions with my counterparts and our colleagues in youth across the kingdom, we want to talk to young people, or talk at them rather, and then when they tell us what they actually want to see, we start off right away with it's not possible. Whereas if you were to just kind of engage with them on a deeper level and say, maybe it's not possible in this particular form, but how about we think critically about how we can make it possible and executable, basically. So I think that was good to hear that we're on the right path. It was really great as well to see former colleagues of mine from Parliament side, Misha Raymond from Aruba, and Mervyn Wyatt Ras, who is now the Minister of Health, and a host of other um, topics in Aruba. There, I thought our portfolios were big, but it's wild. But yeah, so it was great to see them and to share a bit about the youth cabinet with them and what we've been doing in Department of Youth. And again, thank you so much to the Department of Youth, in particular the department head Soraya Agard Lake and Deidre Spratt, senior policy officer, for the great work that they continue to do. So you'll hear and learn more about it if you follow their Facebook page and their socials. You'll be able to see what they're working on, not just in terms of engaging young people, but even at a parental level. Positive parenting and parental involvement is actually one of the main determining factors to how young people participate in their society and the development of their country. So definitely a space to keep watching. And lastly, while also in Statia, we had the opportunity to meet with the heritage inspector, Remy. Thank you again, for sitting with us. We discussed some approaches to safeguarding culture and heritage, as well as working on a master plan for the restoration of Belvedere South, which is, of course, the parcel of land purchased by government last year with strict conditions to be used for culture and heritage preservation and promotion only. So we hope to be, in the coming months, providing some updates on how that is going. But it was really great because he was able to share with us what Statia is doing around their heritage center, what they've been doing with funding that they've been able to receive from the kingdom, the Dutch Central Bank, and so forth. Funding that we unfortunately have missed out on, but that I'm hoping to be able to salvage a bit, as time goes on, and engage with our counterparts and colleagues across the Atlantic to see what is still available and how we can still tap into it for culture and heritage preservation and promotion. And then, of course, Saturday is Flag Day, the 13th. On Friday, the official program will happen, which includes visits to some of the schools in the South Ward and St. Peter's area. So I think we'll be publishing that schedule soon or today. And then, of course, myself, Prime Minister, and others will be visiting the schools, meeting with the students, enjoying their performances, raising the flag, discussing the flag with them. And the usual speechifying, of course, is going to be done in a more digital format to be broadcast on government radio, etc. And on June 13th, actual Flag Day, there are two events that I'll be attending. So the museum has organized a Know Your Flag mini lecture, I call it, which starts at 12:30 p.m. on Saturday at the museum's location in Phillipsburg. And then the Flag Day parade organized by the Simatin National Culture Parade Association, Mr. Domoy, starts at 3 p.m. on Saturday at the Walter Plant Square. I'm really grateful to him for taking it upon himself to organize this. And this is what I talk about when I mention that the community has to be the driving force behind participation and promotion of these national days, whether they are an official holiday or not. So shout out to museum, shout out to Ms. Domoy for organizing these two events. And I hope to see you guys there at the museum at 12:30 on Saturday. And then, of course, Flag Day at 3 p.m. on Saturday at Walter Plant Square. And then Sunday, on a more personal note, we'll be celebrating Mid-Region Day in Mid-Region. We've got music from the Big Bad XP Band and DJ Wilson. Vibes are going to kick off around 3 p.m. There will be food and drinks on sale from district vendors and, of course, Belvedere and DQ. You're welcome to come through and enjoy the vibes and purchase some food from our vendors. Shout out to XP Band and Mid-Region Community Council for setting this up and getting it together. I think this is a great expression of how the community councils, which are actually community citizen participation entities, work to build togetherness in their districts. I remember one of the more active community councils that I always admired, in particular around the holidays, was the South Ward Community Council. So we have these entities there, and I've always been a big proponent of engaging with the community councils to kind of drive community participation outside of election and campaign time, and making sure that they are active and that they have the space and the assistance from a government side to actually execute the things that they want to see in their neighborhood. So that's going to be Sunday, June 14th, Mid-Region Day. So hope to see you guys come through. I will be there to purchase my food early because when I just reach, things just vanish fast. So that's on the culture side of things. Also want to mention, I didn't have it noted down for my notes, but June is literacy is important all the time, but June is also very special because it's Read Caribbean Month. So you're gonna find great deals on books by Caribbean authors. We have this Man Book Fair as well, happening with local authors and their pieces and others. Um, I wanted to have a list ready, but I didn't get to. So maybe I'll do that next week, where I can suggest some authors and some titles from regional writers that you can check out. Uh, we've got, fantastic suggestions from Trinidad, from Jamaica, Barbados, etc. And very excited to find the time to delve into some of these titles myself. But just wanted to put that as a note as well, that it is Read Caribbean Month, it's Caribbean Heritage Month. So definitely find yourself a Caribbean author and grab one of the titles today, and check it out. And I don't think I had any questions. I'm looking at the TikTok live or anything like that. Um, in closing, it's hurricane season. You know how it goes whenever it's hurricane season, guys. On the live, make sure you have your to-go bag ready. Make sure you have your documents in a waterproof pouch or container. Make sure you plan to have non-perishables in stock in your house, bottled water, at least a 2 week supply in your house at all times, because you never know. Further to that, though, the Met Office has been sending out heat warnings. Be sure to stay hydrated. Put on sunscreen, no matter the melanin content of your skin, and don't spend time in the sun if you don't have to. But if you do have to, stay hydrated and keep yourself lathered up in some as strong an SPF as you can find, actually. And of course, you have reef safe options for those who like to hop in the water after, that will not damage our reef and marine ecosystems. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. I wanted to do a live while in Stacia, but when 8:30 start time and about a 4:35 p.m. end time each day, and then by the time that's done, it's you just snoozing. So I want to thank again the people of Stacia, the government of Stacia, Governor Francis, the Kingdom Task Force members, and everyone who put it together for welcoming us to the Golden Rock. It was really an enjoyable time. I haven't been to Stacia as often as I've been to Saba in the last 10 years, but I'm very happy to see the progress happening there and to learn a bit more about it, in particular on the culture and heritage side. So that was that. So next week I will see you guys, and then we'll delve a bit into that steam and your Caribbean authors that you can check out for